What's up, Cowboys Nation? Welcome back to the channel. If you love breakdowns, film sessions, and deep dives into the Dallas Cowboys roster like this one, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. Today's episode is absolutely loaded because we're talking about one of the most critical but overlooked parts of the 2025 Cowboys roster, the defensive tackle group. This unit is under the microscope heading into camp, especially after how things unfolded last season. The Cowboys' defense was solid in some spots but struggled at times to stop the run up the middle and apply consistent interior pressure, especially when Micah Parsons was double-teamed or moved around. So, as we look toward the 2025 season, it's essential to understand not just who's currently in the room but what the front office is trying to build and what roster moves might still be on the horizon. Let's start with the centerpiece, Osa Odighizuwa. He's been one of the more consistent performers on this Cowboys defensive line and is coming off the best season of his career. He just signed a major contract extension this offseason, and it's well-deserved. He led all Cowboys interior linemen in quarterback pressures last year and was a menace against both the pass and the run. Osa is explosive off the line, uses his hands well, and plays with a non-stop motor. The coaching staff loves him, and he's become not just a starter but a vocal leader on the defense. With him locked in long-term, the Cowboys have a foundation piece on the interior. But the question is, who lines up next to him, and who rotates in behind him? That brings us to one of the more intriguing signings of the offseason: Solomon Thomas. Former third overall pick, Thomas has bounced around a bit, spending time with the 49ers, Raiders, and Jets, and while he never quite lived up to his draft billing, he's carved out a solid role as a rotational lineman. The Cowboys brought him in on a short-term deal to bolster the depth and add versatility. He can play multiple positions along the line, including 3-tech and even kick outside if needed. Thomas brings experience, maturity, and a high football IQ, and in a rotation-heavy system, he could provide excellent value on passing downs. Then we've got the wild cards, the players who could shake things up in training camp and completely change how this group looks by week 1. One of those is Perrion Winfrey. Yes, the same Perrion Winfrey who was once highly touted coming out of Oklahoma but didn't stick in Cleveland due to off-the-field issues and inconsistency. But here's the thing: he didn't give up. Winfrey went and balled out in the UFL this spring, earning all-league honors and proving he still has the tools to be disruptive. The Cowboys scooped him up recently, and while there's no guarantee he makes the final 53, the upside is there. If he's matured, focused, and in shape, he could absolutely earn a rotational role as an interior pass rusher. Now, let's talk about Mazi Smith, the player with arguably the most to prove this offseason. Drafted in the first round in 2023, expectations were sky-high for Mazi, but so far, he hasn't lived up to them. His rookie season was quiet, and although he made modest improvements last year, he still wasn't the impact player the Cowboys hoped for when they took him with a premium pick. He struggled with leverage, often played too upright, and lacked consistent explosion off the line. But he's still young, and the physical tools are undeniable. If the light comes on for him in year 3, he could transform the interior defense. However, if he struggles in camp, he could find himself slipping down the depth chart behind guys like Thomas, Winfrey, or even one of the rookies. Speaking of rookies, let's talk about Jay Toya. The Cowboys drafted him late, but he's got a real shot to make the roster. He's a massive space eater with surprising agility and plays with a low center of gravity. In college, he consistently took on double teams and rarely got pushed back. That's the kind of profile Dallas desperately needs in short yardage and goal line situations. If he flashes in camp and preseason, he could not only make the team but contribute early, especially on early downs. He may not have the same pass rush upside as someone like Osa or Thomas, but his strength against the run is exactly what this team needs to complement the more agile interior rushers. Another name to watch is Tommy Akingbesote. He wasn't a high draft pick, but he's raw and powerful, with great length and good instincts. He's likely a practice squad candidate initially, but don't sleep on him. Every year, someone surprises in camp and forces the coaches to keep them around. If he flashes on special teams or in mop-up duty in preseason games, He could be a depth piece that sticks around. The Cowboys have also brought in a few depth names to round out the room, including Ernest Brown IV. He was signed to the active roster late last season and is another player who could earn a role through grit and reliability. He's not flashy, but he's disciplined and knows how to stay in his lane, which defensive line coaches absolutely love. If you're looking for a sleeper to make the team out of nowhere, Brown might be your guy. Then there are some practice squad names and free agents floating around, but right now the Cowboys seem content with the bodies they've brought in. That said, don't be surprised if they add one more veteran before or during camp, especially if injuries occur or one of the younger guys doesn't develop as expected. It's a long offseason, and this team has a history of making late additions to strengthen weak areas before week 1. So where does that leave us in terms of roster predictions? Osa is a lock, Thomas is close to a lock. Mazi Smith, despite the struggles, will likely get another year to prove himself due to his draft status. That gives us 3. Perrion Winfrey could absolutely grab the 4th spot if he continues his UFL momentum and stays out of trouble. Toya is the 5th, as a potential early down contributor. If the team keeps 6 DTs, that last spot is a toss-up between Brown, Akingbesote, and potentially a free agent or late training camp addition. And remember, flexibility matters. A guy who can also play some edge or shift into the B gap in certain fronts could make the team over someone who's purely a nose or 3 tech. Also, let's not forget special teams impact. If one of these linemen proves valuable in field goal block units or other special packages, it could give them the edge in final roster cuts. From a scheme standpoint, what we're seeing is Dallas preparing to rotate more heavily. They want to keep the interior guys fresh, especially late in games when pass rush becomes critical. Eberflus and the defensive staff value versatility, high effort, and players who can disrupt timing in the backfield. It's not just about sacks, it's about moving the quarterback off his spot, blowing up run plays before they start, and being assignment sound. And when you have an edge rusher like Micah Parsons, having strong play up the middle is non-negotiable. If the interior guys don't do their job, it's too easy for QBs to step up in the pocket and neutralize Parsons' edge rush. That's why this position group matters more than casual fans realize. And finally, let's talk big picture. The Cowboys' defense is at a crossroads. They've been good, sometimes great, but haven't made that final leap in January. If they want to take the next step, dominate playoff games, and get back to the Super Bowl, it's going to require improved play from the interior defensive line. That's where games are won and lost, especially in cold weather matchups, road playoff games, and when you're trying to stop elite offenses. The Osa extension was a strong first move. Adding veterans like Thomas and Winfrey shows the front office is serious. But development is key. Mazi Smith has to take a step forward, and the rookies have to show they belong. Camp will be a war zone at defensive tackle this year, and the competition will be fierce. That's a good thing. Iron sharpens iron, and if all goes well, this unit could quietly become the backbone of one of the NFL's best defenses. So keep your eyes locked in this preseason, because what happens in the trenches might just determine how far the Cowboys go in 2025. That's all for today's breakdown. If you made it this far, drop a trench talk in the comments and let me know who you're rooting for to make the roster. Is it the rookie Toya? Do you believe in a Mazi Smith bounce back? Or is Perrion Winfrey your breakout candidate? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. We've got more deep dives coming on the O-line, linebacker battles, and full 53-man projections. Until next time, stay loud, stay proud, and how about them Cowboys?